What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 142 of the Rise to Glory here with Gibraltar Apex, and today I have for you guys a mid-season live com against Gibraltar Lions in the Senior League Cup. This is going to be the quarter-final, which is a very early stage, but with us taking on the second biggest team in the nation. I thought we'd do this as a live com since the last match, which of course was the game against Porto in the Champions League. We've played 5 games. A bit of a mixed bag, really. We won against St. Joseph's 8-0, a really good performance there. Mosca getting a hat-trick. We then followed that with a win against Manchester 62, and again, Mosca with another hat-trick. Paul Smith getting a hat-trick as well. In the next game, which was our final Champions League game, which had no real bearing on anything, we lost 3-2 away from, at home against Everton. They took an early lead. We fought back well, and at 2-1 up going into half-time, I was feeling pretty confident about our side. In the second half, however, we really did collapse, and all in all, it was a pretty disappointing game. Anyway, the next game was a 10-1 win. Doos, not Gwen Doos. We've got rid of the Gwen. He's now just Doos. He got a hat-trick, as did Paul Smith and Mosca. So that was pretty good, you know, to get 3 different hat-tricks. Not sure how they decided who took home the match ball, but that's their problem, not ours. And in the last game of this kind of little run of results, we took on Gibraltar Lions, and it was 2-2. It was a mixed bag. It was 1-1 at half-time. We came out the second half swinging. Paul Smith got a goal for us in the second half, and then, well, Mohamed, he scored again. He got his second of the game in the 71st minute, and that was that. 2-2 it finished, and that kind of leads us into today's game, which is going to be a big one. Of course, as I mentioned, this is the Gibraltarian Senior League Cup final. As a result, we only have 3 spots on the bench, so that is the first thing I need to sort out right now. In terms of our team, in terms of how things are going, obviously pretty happy with our performances all in all. I feel like we're definitely kind of performing to the standard that I expect of our team. Perhaps the draw in the last game was a little bit disappointing, but at the same time I feel like we have the capabilities to bounce back and kind of set the record straight here. In terms of the team, you can see no injuries, which is good. Fitness is really high. Morale is fairly high in most of the camp. Of course, we are going into the January transfer window, which tends to be the period where perhaps in our side, morale drops a little bit as teams announce their interest in players. And, well, you can see looking at our squad here, there are a lot of teams interested in a lot of our players, and we're going to have a fair bit of interest, I imagine, to fend off kind of throughout the off-season and kind of the winter little break that we have for a few weeks. Anyway, in terms of our team, I think this is the squad we're going to go with. It's a good team all in all. I think we may even bring in Mini Mosca for Volsky. But no, with the exception of that, it's pretty much our full-strength team as I consider it right now. The only real position of perhaps some doubt is the right midfielder position. Of course, Junior out with a broken leg. Doos has kind of come in and started playing that right mid position for us. It's not a role he's particularly great in. You can see he can play it kind of unconvincingly. But he has the attributes to play there. He's a very technically gifted footballer. He gets goals. And that's all you can really ask for from a player. And it also allows me to facilitate him into a side that only features kind of one striker, because otherwise he'd just be on the bench a lot of the time. So for him to get first team football is going to help his development. And of course, we're going to have Mosca leading the line on his lonesome. But hopefully he can put in a good performance for us again today as well. Anyway, let's submit our team for today's game against Gibraltar Lions. It's going to be a tricky game. They've got a good team. We are the favourites. Apparently we have enough about our team to secure it. But they have some good players. You look at Vela Mazan, who's kind of their centre mid. He's a fantastic little talent. They've got in kind of a ball-winning midfielder, and they have got some very good players we're going to have to be extremely wary of today. I feel like it's only a matter of time before this kind of Gibraltar Lions side really does cause an upset against us. In terms of their strikers, they've got Kelvin Mohamed, and alongside him they've got Darlington, so 2 very fast, pacey strikers, perhaps not the greatest in the air. Looks like they're going to be playing a 4-4-2, which I do feel like could fall and kind of play well into our system and kind of fall into our hands. And of course, it's worth noting that Badara Sal, who of course played against us in the Pepe Reyes Cup, was it? Yeah, it was the Pepe Reyes Cup at the start of the year, who made a load of mistakes. He's still playing for them, despite that absolute nightmare against us. Hopefully we can give him some flashbacks to that game against them today. Anyway, we're going to just tell the players that we expect them to win. We are the favourites. We've beaten Gibraltar Lions on a lot of occasions over the last 100 or so meetings. And I expect today to be the exact same, if I'm honest. Of course, that draw 2-2 against them in the league less than a week ago, still fresh in our minds. The players are going to want to set the record straight for that one. It was a disappointing game. And yeah, we're looking to bounce back here. And well, let's see what we can do. Girard running forward hits it. It's a speculative effort. It would have been some goal if it had gone in, but Marie in goal. The Frenchman holds on to it for them. And well, he is a new wall, I guess, in their defence for us to try and overcome. They've gone through a lot of goalkeepers in recent years. Gibraltar Lions, but they now have Madrid, the Frenchman, and he's going to be looking to have a good game today, but, well, it isn't going to matter. Walla Doos, or just Doos, because that's what we're calling him now, rather than Gwendoos, because that was too much of a mouthful. But Doos, he gets the goal. Paul Smith with the assist, and well, Doos out on the right-hand side. Naturally a striker, of course, but he has that prowess to get into the box, and, well, he can finish as a striker. And, well, that's a nice little finish from a really tight angle there. Slots it home. Of course, we are at home here at the Space Park. The fans are loving it. It's the perfect start to the game. Look at the stats. Possession's been very 50-50. Gibraltar Lions not shown a lot going forward. I was hoping this was going to be a really competitive game. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this or the Primera Division game as a live com, and I originally decided that I wasn't going to do either. But following the 2-2 draw in the Primera Division, I kind of thought to myself it's probably worth my time to do this live com. But this has been a very different game thus far to that game that was in the Primera Division. And, well, they have an effort. It hits the crossbar. It's a good opportunity for them. Ludwig Young holds on to it, though. And perhaps that's a warning that with only a precarious one-goal lead, we need to be wary. We can't afford to kind of shut off here. We need to keep pushing. We need to try and get another goal if we can. And really build off that. And, well, it's Mosca to try and build something here. Smith. Doos. Overlap is Geigenhoff. Can he get the ball into the box? Options there. Lays it inside to Bouchard, who gives it to Doos. Ball crossed in. Paul Smith at the back post. Fouled. No, he wasn't. It was offside. For a second, I thought we were going to have a penalty. We had 2 against Gibraltar Lions, of course, in the Pepe Reyes Cup. Unfortunately for us, it was an offside decision. I jumped the gun there, as did Paul Smith going forward for us. That said, Doos, can he get the ball into the box? Back post, it's Smith. It's cleared away. Cabasele, though. How has that gone in? I'm really confused. It's an own goal by Wistener. I don't know how that's gone in, though. I mean, is the defender just chasing back? I thought Mosca was just going to score. Oh, he has had to put the tackle in there, to be fair. Mosca behind him, running through clean for on goal, but the defender slides in and just gets a connection on the ball that he didn't want. He wanted to try and divert it for a corner. Ultimately, he's guided it straight past his goalkeeper, and, well, it's 2-0. And whilst we have dominated this half in terms of chances and kind of shots, at 2-0, I don't feel like this is completely done yet. You know, they could still very much in the second half come out swinging. And we've got to be wary. You know, they've hit the woodwork. They've had a chance, Gibraltar Lions, and you'd feel like if they get one goal, perhaps the next goal being theirs, it could shift the momentum and shift the balance of this game quite substantially. Either way, 30 minutes gone in the second half, and, well, thus far it's been very much the same as the first. Really good performance by us. Lots of chances created, not so many taken. 1 clear-cut chance, 4 half chances. We are still just edging possession, and with 15 minutes left, let's make some changes. We really don't want an unnecessary sending off, so I'm going to take off Assad. Worth noting, Mustafa struggling a little bit for fitness. He's been out with a damaged foot, I believe, is the injury that he's been out with. So that's been a bit of a concern. So it's good to see that he is at least back in the side. I'm also going to bring in Volsky and Gilvan. I'm going to take off Girard, which might seem a little bit of a controversial change, but Gilvan, you know, he needs time to play at 2-0 up. I feel fairly confident in our performance. I don't feel like Gibraltar Lions have shown me too much to be wary of. Unlike that Everton game we had where we lost from 3-1 up and they were down to 10 men. I feel like in this game, Gibraltar Lions, they've not had that many chances. They've not terrified me with what I've seen from them. And perhaps we can, you know, just afford perhaps to take our foot off the gas, bring in a few other players, just rotate the side. And yeah, let's see what we can do here. Gilvan, nice ball up, cleared away, but I appreciate the intent there by the Sarah attacking mid. And actually, Eduardo might be through here for Gibraltar Lions. Young tips it onto the woodwork. Fantastic save, perhaps a little bit of a let-off. We can't forget it's only 2-0. That said, Mosca coming forward. Can he make it 3? He wants a goal in this game, Mosca. He shoots. It's saved well by Marie in the end. And, well, I say Mosca wants a goal. He hasn't got a goal. There's not many games where he doesn't get a goal. And, well, there's not a lot of time left. We might have a chance, though. Volsky shoots from range. That was ambitious, to say the least. And, well, 2 minutes left. That's probably the GG right there. Good game. 2-0. Not super convincing. Not absolutely demolished them. Similar to the Pepe Reyes Cup game in a lot of ways. I feel like in that game we were perhaps fortuitous in terms of the red card. Not the red card, sorry. The penalties that we got that made a difference there. Either way, pretty happy with that performance. Doos getting a good goal as well. That will see us knock out Gibraltar Lions from the Senior League Cup final, which is always going to be a big thing. Just before we wrap up this episode, I'll just talk about a few transfers. I forgot to talk about these earlier, but these are basically transfers that have been arranged for some time that are going to be happening in the future. We'll start this one with Carlos Reyes. He doesn't actually join until next year, the Colombian. and he'll be joining us in about a year's time. It's 367 days away, his kind of signature being confirmed, but he looks like he could be a good defensive centre mid, 17 years old, looks like he has some potential about him, good well-rounded mentals, good well-rounded physicals, reasonable tackling and marking early on, and playing regular kind of league football for his current squad at the age of 17 is really good. The next player we have is a player we've signed from France, and it's this guy Bonnet, 15 years old French player, joined us at the end of the season in June, and he looked fantastic. 15 years old, this guy. Great determination, well-rounded physicals, like the fact he's got good natural fitness. If we look at his report, you can see he needs to learn the language, and he's a bit selfish, but he's a determined individual, can improve a lot in the future, is adaptable. Looking forward to having his kind of signature confirmed. And then the last three players joining us actually later this week. The first one we have here is Layas Afkir, who is a Moroccan player. Of course, I believe the last Moroccan player we had was Hamid Bar. I don't expect this guy to follow in the exact same footsteps, but he was just a good young player who kind of got flagged up as a player I might want to take interest in. We didn't pay a lot for him. In fact, if we look here, we paid £350,000, so a bit of a bargain there. The next player for £2.5 million, a transfer that's been organised for a little while now, really. I don't think I've talked about it, though, is this guy, Bismarck, who is joining us from Vasco in the Brazilian leagues. He's a good player. He's a good winger. He's 18 years old. Not developed as much as I'd like, but he's still a very good player technically and with his speed. Hopefully we can get a good shooter. Hopefully his mentals can improve. Maybe a little bit of first team football will benefit him too. But, you know, at £2.5 million, a relatively cheap fee. And the last player of these 5 players we have got coming in over the next 12 months or so is this guy, Seydou Boka. He's an Ivorian, 18 years old. We signed him from ASEC, a team who I have a little bit of a history with at FM of signing players from. He was kind of tipped off as one of their key players when I was checking them out. Great finishing, great composure, great off the ball. His physicals aren't absolutely stand out, but they're nothing to be scoffed at. He's 18 years old. Could be a very useful striker for us going forward. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap up this episode from me. Just something a little bit different. I feel like over the next 2 years, we're going to be seeing more and more of the domestic football here in Gibraltar as the games do get more competitive. That 2-0 win, kind of, I think, a sign of that to some extent. In terms of when we'll be back for the Champions League first knockout round, which, well, you may have noticed it earlier. I'm going to draw your attention to it now. We are going to be taking on Real Madrid. So, yeah, we finished top of our group. We did really well, and we are gifted with an opportunity to take on Real Madrid, a team who in this save have absolutely dominated La Liga for the last few years. So that's going to be a tough game for us. That will also see the return of Daniele Russo. Yeah, could be better, but we'll look forward to seeing our former man. Hopefully he doesn't kind of score against us, and maybe we can come away with a result somehow. Either way, the transfer window is coming up, so I'm going to have some signings coming, hopefully. And yeah, that is all from me. If you've got any comments with this series so far, feel free to leave them down below. If you have enjoyed the video and you've watched until this point, please like the video. It does greatly help me out. I appreciate you watching the content to this point too, of course. And other than that, guys, that is all from me. I will see you next time for episode 143. It's going to be against Real Madrid. It's going to probably be a little bit messy, but hopefully we can come away with something. I will talk to you guys then. I'm out.